Shalom, all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone by Shem Rakak Wadash. My name is Yakalba from Plain Tables Camp in Philly. This is German royalty. This is out of Nature's Knows No Color line. All right. So what Esau did was he whitewashed all, or yeah, when he puts it public facing, he so-called whitewashes it, meaning he takes the melanin and makes it lighter for public view, and that's what he did with Beethoven, Mozart, Queen Charlotte. This is right here. You got people saying fact versus fiction. Fact versus fiction. You can clearly see this woman is an Israelite, a person of color, right here on MS Mojo. And then you got one picture that says Netflix, and then it says true story. Like, she didn't look like this. She looked more like the character that's being played on Netflix. Didn't look like that. All right. The point is, the writers and the producers of the Netflix special know that the German princess that became a queen was a so-called black woman. That's the point. All right. She didn't look like a damn Edomite. When you go to the Wikipedia page, she didn't look like that. This is Renaissance art. All right. In order for Esau to lie, he has to control dates and times. All right. Just like Antiochus Epiphanes, they seek to change times and laws. And Antiochus Epiphanes in the book of Daniel, how Esau gets control of information. All he'll do is he'll take over the land, all right, and replace the images with his own images. All right. So Queen Charlotte was German. All right. This from the book Nature Knows No Colors line. Knows No Color line. She was fair skinned according to the paintings. This is a black and white painting. All right. So she may have not have been, super dark skinned like this brother over here, Wolfgang Grunstein. Now, because the real Germans were so-called black people. All right. Now, as you see down here, it says, "Domi defense. Lord is my defense. Lord defense." You see two fair-skinned women down here, because the kingdom of Judah that was scattered in Europe, all right, many of their seed among the Edomites, Edomite women. So the children that are born of these Edomite women or fair-skinned women, they could have been, so-called biracial. Right? They could have been Israelites. All right, they're just more fair-skinned. All right, meaning an Israelite on their father's side, so that will make their seed, the seed that's produced of the Edomite or fair-skinned woman, would be an Israelite. All right. So this is probably how you had the product of Queen Charlotte. All right, Queen Charlotte, we can see that. Sophia, consort of George III, and grandmother of Queen Victoria, from the portrait by Thomas Fryer. All right, so you see Thomas Fryer. And we got portraits by Thomas Gainsborough, 1781. So if he really did draw this image, he started the whitewashing. He was one of the people, one of the Edomites, if he was an Edomite, started the so-called whitewashing of the images. Just because an Edomite paints a picture doesn't mean it's actually the person that they're painting. All right? I mean, the authentic person. Esau painted a bunch of pictures to replace the dark images. All right. So you have the world thinking that she looked like this. And she looked more like this. So both of the people who named were Thomas. So this could be a damn fictional guy for all we know. Over here. All right. Let's pull that back up. So his name was Thomas also. Thomas Fryer. 1719 to 1762. And let's see this. This was painted in 1781, apparently. So both images can't be right. Because the true German ancestry, when it comes to royalty, after the 70 AD, when Israel was scattered throughout Africa and Europe, all over the world, really, you had so-called Negroes or Israelites, the kingdom of Judah, that went into Europe. So by the 1500s, Judah already established themselves, took over, because the Lord, gave us the wisdom and the knowledge to usurp authority over the natives that were there, whether they were Edomites, from Julius Caesar's campaign in Europe, or Japhites, because they mix their seed among the Japhites, the Edomites. That's what Esau does when he goes to different lands. He'll conquer the people, push some of them out, and then procreate with the rest. Then you have a mixed population. Right? But Judah got up in there during the expulsion of 70 AD and took over the government. This is why you have the name Wolfgang go back to so-called black people, not Edomites. All right. So go over here. Here's the evidence. It says Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So he covered the face. So H3680. We got Kasa. I don't have the video here. Got Beethoven. All right. And you look at the Edomite washed images of Beethoven. Edomite washed images of Queen Charlotte and Wolfgang Grunstein. You can see that. 1536. All right, and Queen Charlotte, which was a black woman. These Germans before they were put out of Germany, persecuted and murdered, or put out. The royalty and some of the population were so-called Negroes. All right. Just like today, you have in America, you got so-called Negroes, you got Edomites living next to each other, and some of us mingle with each other, and some of us don't. Same thing it was in Europe. All right, but this is Edomite supremacy. Everything in Europe is supposed to be Caucasian whitewash, so-called whitewash, and everything in Africa is supposed to be black. All right, which the majority of stuff in Africa is black, so-called black. All right, which comes from Northern Africa, South Africa, West Africa. All the royalty and the rulers were all so-called black people. Either they were Israelites or they were Hamites. All right. So you got Beethoven there, and then you got in a minute. This is the video, the Gentiles. Oh, so I put this together from previous videos. The Gentiles 2022 compilation. So go to 53 minutes. So that's Beethoven's true image when he was younger, older. All right, 53 minutes. Oh, that's Richard Strauss, German. We used to just talking about Germans, right? Notable composer Richard Strauss. Also Sprach Zarathustra. Yeah, you want to copyright the music, but you can see that also Sprach Strustra, if I'm saying it right. That's a pagan creation story, if I'm not mistaken. And it tells you that the people in the even though they're supposed to be Christians, they still give honor to these pagan gods, because that's what Christianity is about. It's about bringing in the paganism and mingling it with the Bible. That's literally what Christianity is. All right, so he wrote the that score. It's very famous. That was also Sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss. All right. Now the purpose of this video is, judge not after the outward appearance. In my opinion, I believe this man was an Israelite. All right. He was alive during the so-called Nazi regime. He was actually appointed the head of the Nazi music department. Now, you know how Hitler would always say you'd have to be pure. He actually said it, but pure German, blonde hair, blue eyes. All right. And to my knowledge, Richard Strauss didn't possess that. He has a curly afro, or curly fro, or curly bushy hair. All right. So that Nazi party was all confused. So he said, or he alluded to this man being a pure German. And if he was a pure German, his hair wouldn't be curly. He would have blue eyes and his hair would be blonde. All right. So I believe this man was an Israelite. All right. And I see a picture of him start getting older. All right. Richard Strauss. Here's another one. Is this a pure-bred German? Blonde hair, blue eyes? No, but he was the head of the Nazi music department. Richard Strauss. All right. So how intelligent were these Edomite Germans really? All right. So all you got to do is pretty much say you're not a little hat, and then you're okay. It's ridiculous. Like they were Gustav Mahler, right? He was openly a little hat. Which I believe he was an Israelite also. But look at this man. This is supposed to be a pure German. With brown, woolly hair. It's curly. Look at that. Wish I had a better picture. Let me see some more. So judge not after the outward appearance. All right. I believe this man was an Israelite. All right. And again, if a so-called black man, all right, that's melanated, continues over generations to mate with Edomite or fair-skinned women, they're going to start to look different. But he retained his bushy hair. All right, he's one of the greatest composers to ever live. All right, Richard Strauss. This is a German. This is supposed to be a purebred German, Richard Strauss. He was a child. All right. So the point is, you can't judge at the outward appearance when you're trying to determine someone's nationality. Here we go. Again, one last time. Well, I'll do it again in the end. Richard Strauss. Curly, bushy hair. I think you get the point. All right, so the real Germans are, or should I say, the German royalty. Our people were scattered because the actual Germans are Japhites, but Julius Caesar conquered them, and then 70 AD. After that, you had Israelites that went into Europe. So it was that Doctor Who clip I'm trying to find. Okay, it was near the Beethoven clip. All right, let's move up a little bit. It's On Thin Ice, I believe it's called, this episode. Regency, England. A little more color than I thought. Let's go. Recorded a while ago.
Interesting.
What is?
Regency, England. Bit more black than I show in the movies.
So does Jesus. History's a whitewash.
Play that again. Yeah, so they're just lying. Oh, the real Queen Charlotte versus Netflix. No, you just whitewashed it. You covered the faces of the judges. And these Christians can never admit that the so-called white man is a liar. They'll never admit that. They'll never admit that he falsified records, that he lied and covered things up. They just go with the narrative. Everything's Caucasian. That's what they're going with. So that means they justify slavery of Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. They justify it by not acknowledging that it was a wicked, cruel, evil thing, and that they lied. All right, they lied. Recorded a while ago.
Interesting.
What is?
Regency, England. Bit more black than I show in the movies.
So does Jesus. History's a whitewash.
And that guy that plays that iteration of Doctor Who, he's from Scotland. So he might be Israelite too. So that's that. Then we got says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, Esau Edom. He covereth the faces of the judges. So that means he hides and replaces what the children of Israel look like. All right. The scriptures say the scepter should not depart from Judah, no lawgiver from between his feet. All right. So Judah that's the prophecy of Judah ruling forever. All right. It says he covereth, hide, conceal. All right. Of the judges. All right. The judges of the Israelites. All right. He whitewashes, so-called whitewashes, meaning changes the features and the color of the kings in Europe. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. They'll even make them all Caucasian. All right. All right. Because the house of David, that's for David was a man after his own heart. His kingdom is going to be established forever. All right. So then I'm gonna do Swift in there. All right. So we got Jeremiah 12. Jeremiah 12:7 says, mine heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest. It crieth out against me. Therefore have I hated it. And that's why Yahweh scattered us. All right. He scattered us throughout those nations. All right. He prophesied. He said, when you see Jerusalem compassed about with armies, run, flee. All right. When he said that, the Lord did that. The Lord controls these nations, the heart of the king. My heritage is Jeremiah 12:9. My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye assemble, all the beasts of the field come to devour. And Babylonian Empire. All right. We kind of settled under the Persians. They didn't do us too much harm. They let us rebuild our house of worship. All right. Then the Greeks and under Alexander, Antiochus Epiphanes subjugated us. All right. Well, first under Alexander, then under the different generals under Alexander. We got a little freedom for a little bit. We came under the Romans. All right. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. Heritage meaning we're the Lord's possession. 51:59. We got Nakhala, possession, property. All right. So Esau touching us, he touching the apple of the Lord's eye. And we got speckled, 66:41. Tazabawai. They're colored, variegated, speckled, exhibiting different colors, especially irregular patches and streaks, speckled. It meaning that Israel, we're going to come in different colors. I put in speckled birds. They have different colors, meaning from light to light brown to pale, lacking much melanin, lacking melanin, to dark, all the way dark. Looking like a Hamite, super dark, looking like Solomon. All right, speckled bird meaning variegated in colors. We have different. Our people, my possession, Israelites. All right, I'm going to look variegated, colored. All right, as a human, a person. All right, you're gonna look all the way red, pale, to dark brown. Now these are speckled birds, or ruddy birds. All right, ruddy means colored and handsome. All right, so ruddy means attractive, beautiful. All right, David was, when you go to reference to David, it wasn't because David was light-skinned. It was because David was not, he didn't look battle-hardened. He was handsome. All right. So, yeah. Because when you look up ruddy, it tells you that her Nazarites are more ruddy embodied than rubies. All right, and jewels and all that. All right, it doesn't mean that David was red. It was a red man, or that the prophets were all red. All right, but that's what some people try to go with. Oh, ruddy means you're red. You can't be talking about dark. So if the prophets were all red, light, that means David was red, light. All the prophets, Adam was red, light. No, it just means that they were handsome, and that's figuratively. Beautiful because of the work. All right. So how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel, that sing good tidings, roughly paraphrasing. All right. That's the breakdown on that. All right. You can't mean he's red in one verse, but then in another verse, or they're just light skinned. Or it just means it means the same thing. They were ruddy in body. All right, the prophets, King David. All right, and they were beautiful. All right, one for the work, the work's sake. All right, and the other because he was young and youthful, David. All right, so that's the breakdown of that. Esau understood at a certain year that it was power in separating people by color, because this was a new thing. This is a new thing. Separate people by the color of their skin. All right. But there were evidence that was left behind. All right, and every once in a while, Esau he'll let something slip through. All right. Wolfgang, this name goes back to so-called black people, all right, that eventually mingled their seed with fair-skinned women, all right, and I believe this is a bishop, German footnote, the bishop's Mitri, all right. So either he was a bishop, meaning he was a Christian in the church, all right, and this is mostly corrupt doctrine, but nonetheless, because the church in Europe started with so-called black people. All right. Whether it was righteous or not, which it wasn't righteous. They were going off. It says since the father fell asleep, they continued as they were. Roughly paraphrasing. Grievous wolves came in, not sparing the flock. All right. So either way, our people come in all shades. No matter what King David really look like. All right. It gives you explicitly what his father, his son, looked like in Songs of Solomon. His other incarnation, Solomon's incarnation, was his Yahweh Shai. Gives you what he looks like. All right. So no matter what David's complexion was, he was an Israelite. All right. He was a melanated Israelite. All right. Ruddy doesn't mean light-skinned, red. All right. Because that's how they link ruddy to being a so-called white person or Caucasian. They'll say that they'll get the complexion to look more like this. So if he's really light-skinned, they'll just say, well, if he's really that light-skinned, that means he's red. And if he's dark-skinned, then that means black. Color wasn't the only sign that you would use for your nationality. All right, but Esau made it that way. He said, well, if you look like this, then you have to be this, and you look like that, you have to be that. All right. Color is a sign, but it's not the end all be all. All right. Let me get all right, when you look up Lamentations 4 and 7, all right, so if you go with the red super light skinned thing, what you're doing is you're basically saying that all the prophets or the dedicated people, so it says Nazareth, technically says Nazarites, all right, it says they were purer than snow. So that means they were white. They were so-called white people, according to if you're breaking it down that way. All right, they were whiter than milk. All right, they were more ruddy in body than rubies. Right, so you look up ruddy, and what do you get? It says Adam, which Adam means earthman of the soil, of unknown derivation. Okay. And then they link it with the word red. So basically, the lighter a person is, the more red they are. All right. So they're saying that the Israelites that were Nazarites were all so-called white people. That's what they're. So when you go with that way of thinking, this is what you're saying. All right. To show redness, to show blood in the face, flush. This is what Esau says Adam means. Adam does not mean that. All right. Adam goes back to Adama. Esau, he of unknown derivation. Esau, you're a damn liar. All right. So let's look it up in the outlinage of biblical usage. Ram skins dyed red. See, this is how they solidify it. Go with this thing that David was a so-called white man. The ram skins dyed red. I'm gonna get to some. All right, so it doesn't show up in Samuel's. All right. The shield of the mighty men is made red, but it's all related, to show blood in the face. When we look up David, we're going to see the same similar thing. Unknown derivation, Adam. Let's look it up in the. So they directly just lied. So the actual word there is not the because that's the root word when they show. When you click on the word, and then the word is the root, and then the word is really there. So they don't know what Adam means. Come on, man. All right, so her So our Nazarites were so red that they were beautiful. And they use ruddy in English to describe it. So another way you can look at it is, well, ruddy means colored. It means brown skin. Beautiful. That's another way you can look at it, because they translated Adam to mean ruddy. All right. So you got that one. And we got Adam Wa. All right. I forget what wa in the end of a sentence means. End of a word. So they're saying that's the whole word. All right. So again, the blue letter goes off. All right. They don't know what the word Adam means. Come on, man. All right. Let's look up a ruddy. David said he was sent and brought. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance. Yeah, this word is not describing how red David was. All right. So, Song of Solomon, my beloved is white and ruddy, the cheapest among 10,000. But in the previous verses, he just said he was a dark skinned Shakur. So what is it? So is he a white man or is he a black man? All right. We look, the word ruddy does not mean that you're red. All right, that you're light skinned. All right, it doesn't mean that, because it doesn't follow through. All right, it doesn't follow. If you go through all these verses, it doesn't follow all the way through. Let's look at the actual word. H132 outline is biblical usage. Adam Wanai, Adam Naya. Esau's a baby. Esau's an infant. No. See, that's the thing. They try to link Esau, so they say he was ruddy. So King David and Esau look the same, basically. I mean, you would have to agree with that. So Esau and King David are basically twins, according to what Blue Letter is saying. All right. And when the Philistines looked about and saw, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and looked like a white man and of a fair countenance. That's basically what they're saying. All right, look like a damn Edomite. That's Esau's. So that's how they try to link the two together. So either he is or he ain't. All right, I don't have a portrait of know exactly what King David looks like. All right, but what Esau is saying, he basically saying, well, King David and Esau, they practically look the same. They look similar. All right, which I don't believe that to be true. I don't believe that King the Philistine Goliath looked at David and he was such a light-skinned so-called white man, or he was just so light-skinned that he was not worthy to be fought. I just don't believe that. All right. Then they got the Greek portokes, which that means fire, red. Rufus in Latin as red. So yeah, it's a conspiracy. It's a big conspiracy. So Adam Wanaya goes back to Adam. And they don't know what it means. Like, come on now. So all the Nazarites, see, this is the games they're fucking playing. All right. These are the games they're playing. So H132 goes back to H119, which they don't know what it means. But it right here, it means that you're red. Like Esau is a baby. All right. Which that's not the word for red. The word for red is Adawam. Adawam. which Esau is Edom. All right. You bring up man. Israel is a speckled bird. All right, you got some of us that look like Adawam, all right, which David did not look like Adawam, Edom, all right. He was either dark skinned or he was light skinned. Either way, you could look at him and tell he was an Israelite. He didn't look like, you couldn't mistake King David for Edomite. Right? That's what I believe. It wasn't the way you're gonna look at King David. Oh, he looked kind of like an Edomite. I'm not sure. I don't believe that. All right. But this is Esau's whitewashing, his so-called whitewashing, or his red washing. To be more correct, his red washing. All right. So he ain't want to fight because he was so light-skinned. This don't make no damn sense. And then you go to our prophets, you know, our dedicated ancestors. Whiteness and ruddiness, which means red. All right. So, it says here, whiteness and ruddiness belonging to the description of youthful beauty, and that's what I believe it means. That's what it is. When you say ruddy, you're describing the beauty. Can you all see that? You're describing the beautiful countenance of the person. Whiteness and ruddiness belonging to the description of beauty. Hence, it is a mistake to apply the word adamwa in the place of meaning clear whiteness. All right. I don't know what they mean by clear whiteness, what they're trying to say it means. But yeah, it's beauty. Clear whiteness is referring to being beautiful. It's not referring that the person looks like it's pale red. All right. They're saying it means pale red. All right. So, sparkle. I hope y'all can see that. All right. Handsome. All right. By the way, people come in variegated colors. All right. Variegated colors. All right. No matter what David's face looked like, I don't believe at all that his blood was showing through his face at all. All right. But that's the link that they try to, let me go to Genesis. Try to link David for being a so-called white man. All right, this will be the last one. I didn't really even want to go into this, but it just came up. You got Adama. From the root 119 that they don't know what it means. Like, come on, man. Adam. Means from earth, the ground, soil. And then look, again, see they're really trying to get rid of color. From its general redness. Okay. So when you say general, it means affecting or concerning all or most people, places, or things. So basically, most soil on Earth is like 90% red, or is it 51%? All right. Some smartasses would say, well, 51%. All right. From the Earth, so 51% of the Earth is red. It's the intelligence you're working with now. All right. If it worked there, it should work everywhere, right? But when it comes to King David, it's just King David, and all the people that matter. He's red. All right. But then you got to deal with the Nazarites. All right. You got to deal with the Nazarites. If you're going to break it down that way, okay, you got to deal with the Nazarites. All right. So basically, you're also saying, it's something to think about, that all our prophets and dedicated men were white let's say if you read it verbatim, they were whiter than milk, and they were more looked like a so-called white man in body than rubies, because rubies are red apparently. Her polishing was of sapphire. All right, so all that the Nazarites were red. Prophets were red. All right, where we at? We're ready. 119, right? Yep. Okay, so whitewashing is real. The red washing is real, and they know people think in pictures. And if you don't do the research, you'll be taken by the stupidity. Yeah, there weren't cameras back then. Okay, we don't know exactly what King David looked like, but I guarantee you, the majority of Israelites did not look like fair-skinned people, fair-skinned Israelites, or so-called mixed biracial, all right, or look straight up like Edomites. That was not what Israel looked like. Look like Edomites. The two different nations, they look totally different, all right, in complexion, all right, and as you can see here, the Edomite red supremacy is taking over the minds and thoughts of simple-minded people that don't want to do the research. All right. No, there weren't cameras back then. All we have is paintings and Bible verses and comparisons. So we're doing the best we can to come up with the truth. All right. So from my research, this is what I found. By cross-referencing different scriptures and icons, this is what I found. All right. When you read these scriptures and verses, you got to cross-reference how these words are used. All right, and see, read through the bullshit, and if it add up here, so if David was a light-skinned white man, that means all the Nazarites had to be light-skinned white men too. You got to go with that, because the ram skins dyed red. All right, then they don't know what it means. Like, come on, man. So I'll leave that there. All right, do your own research. You can do exactly what I did, and you'll come up with the same conclusion. Like, if it says it's there, then why does it say? So why is the same word, similar word here, totally different? And then they link it with Esau. Esau's a damn liar. All right. Wolfgang Grunstein. So hope you edified. This Queen Charlotte, German princess. It came a queen, which ain't no queens in Israel. All right. The German, the royalty after Japhet was Israelites. She's a product of someone that looked like this, Judah. Scepters should not depart from Judah. All right. So hope you edified. I'll leave it there. Shalom.